Hi guys. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this very pivotal full moon in Capricorn. I think this is a moon where we can definitely recognize a pivot point. We're going to be able to see the old structures, the old systems, the old traditions, the old ways of being, and they could be very karmic that don't serve us anymore. And a recognition of the new inspirational pathways and directions and empowerment that we're getting ready to go towards, but not quite yet, but it's there, we're seeing it. So we're getting rid of the old in order to go towards this new inspiration and plant the seeds for structures that have more integrity and more alignment and can be more in flow with who we truly are. So I'm going to talk about this full moon and how you can use it, how you can manifest with it. And then I'm going to go through all the signs so you can check that out too. And if you don't know me, my name is Jenna. I like to talk about astrology and energy updates. And I like to give you the highest timeline possible that you can jump onto because we are ultimately responsible for manifesting our reality at that highest level possible all the time. So it's up to us to see that vision and see that highest timeline that we can jump on and pay more attention to that and not pay attention to the old loops or the old programs or the old ways of being disempowered that don't serve. Right, Capricorn. So the spotlight is on you. This is all about yourself, your identity, your roles that you've taken on, who you have been so far, and who you're evolving into. What is kind of heavy when it comes to, old roles that you've stepped into, old ways of being that are no longer serving you. And it majorly has to do with relationships. Maybe you've been there too much for relationships. Maybe you've been over nurturing and over caring. Or maybe there's relationships where you do, want to spend more time with because there's a lot of luck with relationships with Jupiter in the seventh house, attracting in a lot of, just abundant relationships that are very expanding for you and very, just full of growth and opportunity and abundance. And I do like how you're definitely softening, your identity and old stories from the past and your family. So when that happens, you can soften those old stories from the past where maybe you hardened from the past when it comes to family. And but now you can soften because you're getting more in tune with that emotional core of who you are. And you can invite more of your full self in when you do that, when you're not being so rigid, when you're not, being too controlled. You can soften and loosen up to allow more of your higher self and higher being to be embodied, and kind of that'll give you a lot of insight too when you do have this compassion and softening when it comes to home, roots, and family. So you can show up out in the world with, more love and more compassion and more care to everybody else. So recognize who you want to be now and how do you see yourself evolving? What is that emotional core foundation that you really need with the right relationships that are going to be nurturing and supportive and very expanding to you? Because it definitely looks like this is a wheel of fortune. So this is impacting you big time. This is like a choice point where you are going in there's directions though, you can go in this highest new direction, or you can stay with the way things are and kind of keep things the same. You're going through a major release when it comes to your beliefs about the world with Mars crossing the South Node. You might be a little just cutting away those old limiting beliefs with how you've created your reality and your vision. And you might be getting mad with, why haven't I created this? And now you can create it now. You can make a plan. You can be that full empowered self out in the world. Because Mars is exalting you. And Mars is going to be in your sign next at the end of this year. So when Mars gets to exalt you, like you get to be fully empowered in all areas of your life. So know what you are building and how you are self-actualizing with those strong, core relationships that are really deeply meaningful to you, and that you are giving yourself time to, focus on those meaningful relationships. So you can evolve into that highest version of yourself that is going towards those goals and those dreams in a more self-actualized way with more empowerment, and creating structures that are going to be very fulfilling for you. So the judge is the archetype that we're releasing. So, or I just pulled out archetypes so you can get your own insight. So the judge, when light is balanced in just, or when light balance, justice, and compassion, managing fair distribution of power. And shadow is offering only destructive criticism, misusing business and legal or criminal authority. Yeah, I'm pulling the archetypes cards because it's very Saturn and growing, evolving out of the archetypes. So that might have some significance. And what you're really getting into, bam, major feminine energy, sexuality, feminine wisdom, and passion. So when you do get back into your body, and that is so important with our evolution that we're going through right now, you really do have to be in your body. And that is where your intuition is at. You need to let yourself feel. So you know what's right for you and you know what's not right for you, but recognize all the wisdom that you need is in your body. So definitely spend some time taking care of your body, and then also like diving into passions. I think that's where you're going to create the next fulfilling structures that are really meant for you, because you are supposed to go after what you're passionate about. With Pluto in the second, with Uranus now in the sixth, you want work to be exciting, you want work to be fun, you want it to be future forward and innovative and full of interesting people. And with Pluto in the second, you can be powerful, but you want to be doing what you deeply soulfully desire and crave at that deeper level. So let yourself change and switch up your work and be more open-minded so you can be dynamic in everything. So you can see the options and the ways that you can create abundance that is so in alignment with the core of who you truly are. Make sure you create a vision board. When a full moon is in your first house, you need a vision board. You need to look at it every day. You need to visualize your future. You need to get in alignment with that future version of yourself and becoming it. And yeah, because manifestation should be a daily thing. It's not just a full moon thing. But and affirm, just I get paid to exist. Like, I don't know if you want to. I release any old identities or roles that aren't serving me anymore, so I can connect the mind and the heart and create structures that are full of joy, fulfillment, and abundance for me. All right, thank you so much, Capricorn. Hi, Aquarius. So this full moon is happening in your 12th house, which I really love for you right now because everything did just shift into your fifth house. And the fifth house is all about your creativity and your joy and your passions. And you're getting realigned with that in a really powerful way that's going to help you transform completely yourself and your identity. So this is a great full moon to really have a spotlight on your subconscious in the past. And this could be subconscious limitations where you limited yourself, where you only let yourself go so far, where you stayed in the same loops and the cycles, because the 12th house is like loops and cycles and what we're unconscious of, but we're doing it because we're unconscious of it. So we can have more awareness of what we have outgrown. 12th house, 6th house, it's all about evolving out of karma. The work and the structures and the routines that we've taken on, there is a new way to do it and seeds that we can plant to work in a more abundant way that is more in flow and more in flow with a lot more abundance, actually, because you should, especially if you're going for with creativity. because Jupiter's going to be turning the North Node in your second house, and the North Node in your second house, you're going towards dream money. So in order to do this, you need to give yourself that alone time. You need to go within, meditate, do yoga, do whatever really gets you connected to your higher self. Whatever lets you receive those higher ideas. Look at where Neptune is in your chart. That might help you too. Mine's in the sixth house, so I do it while, I receive ideas while cleaning or doing like chores or like hanging out with my animals. So a lot of the time, so that might help. But yeah, anything that gets you in touch with your higher self so you can receive those downloads, because those downloads want to come in and they want to make you rich and they want to transform you and who you are out in the world. So you got to go within, spend time hermit moding, so you can bring awareness to what you really need to be aware of. Your soul is going to be calling you somewhere. So you need to rest and withdraw so you can come back stronger. I do like withdrawal for this though, because you do need to listen within, and you can like go out and have fun and everything and receive ideas and connections that way. But I do like this for more so going within and receiving, because you're going to really get a calling with your soul and where you're really meant to go. So you got to listen up. And there, with that like insight, I think there's a way that you can plant seeds with work and your routines and health that will actually open up the doors for you later on. So definitely become aware of what has been draining you. What loops and cycles are you done with? What can you release? What ways of self-sabotaging yourself? What ways of, because we're always self-sabotaging. We all have the 12th house that we'll spend lifetimes to get, a lifetime to get out of, like, we'll never be out of self-sabotaging ourselves. But there's the little ways that we do it, and then there's big ways that we do it, and you're just becoming aware of that. So you can get more in tune with, how you can nurture yourself more and care for yourself more. Divine energy, divine mother came out. So nurturing, compassion, care, grace. Feminine energy wants to talk to you. So you got to listen in and go within so you can connect to the quantum, because you are the leader. You are the leader of us in the Aquarian age. And you are going to receive those insights so much easier now. And those insights will let you express yourself in new ways. It could be a creative project that you start that helps you flourish, because the 12th house is also working behind the scenes on creative projects. So you can start them now and just have unexpected success with Uranus in the 5th house, just going viral, like selling the book for so much money like J.K. Rowling did. That's like this energy, especially trying to Pluto. Like you need to get into your creativity. So music, art, social media, whatever way that you are letting your soul kind of be expressed in this reality is going to be really, really powerful and help you show up out in the world in a whole powerful way, as more so as a leader. So if you're interested in a new hobby, if you get an impulse to do something fun, if you seem magnetized towards a certain person, even, that can kind of give you information with what you need to know, because you're being opened up to take a creative risk and know that your joy and your passion will pay off. And you got to follow your fun. Like not all signs get to follow their fun. And it's kind of been tough for, Aquarius risings, but now is your era. Now it's coming in, and you get to just have more fun, follow your passion, be unapologetic too at the same time. You are the rebel, you are, the free agent and the radical. Like you need that freedom and that fun and that excitement, and you can, you got to be unapologetically yourself. You don't want to try to fit any roles or boxes. You want to do what's fun to you and what's really true to you. So pay attention to those lightning strikes of ideas. You can literally be the new J.K. Rowling and, like see what happens. I love how Don Juan came out for you. So the Don Juan archetype might be evolving out of your realm. But Don Juan, light attributes, spotlights your positive, seductive qualities. Shadow, using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. Oh my God, that is so funny for with Mars crossing the South Node in the eighth house too. You might be getting deeply in touch with intimacy in a way where you are getting really clear with who you don't want anymore, or if there has been a Don Juan type masculine in your life, you're like, that's it. Like I see it. It's not. We're cutting it out. You're at the same time getting super in tune with intimacy with Mars in the eighth house, and what either maybe you do need to be more open, and maybe you do need to be more like Don Juan with being more seductive and not being too rigid, with Virgo ruling this area, not being too prim and proper and controlled. You're letting yourself flow and open up a bit more to more of your soulful expression, where it's not as controlled. You don't, it's not thought out. When you connect to the soul, it's not thought out. It is just flows, and it flows out of you. And justice came out. So this might also be getting rid of certain karmic contracts. The eighth house is how we merge with people intimately, financially, psychologically. And there's stuff that you could just be throwing out, from the past, old karmic situations that you're done with and you're letting yourself go. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. And also, like, this is a massive cutting away of any limiting mindsets. Maybe there was a way that you were building in the old era that was more from scarcity, that was more like being too controlled with the sources and everything, where it's actually more powerful to go towards the a bigger view of the limitless possibilities of resources, and recognizing when you shift your perspective like that, you open up your ability to attract in and to manifest and to create systems that do have more of an unlimited abundance of resources. I noticed that actually for Aquarius and Aquarius rising recently. All right, so thank you so much, Aquarius. Happy full moon. Wait. Affirmations. I express myself and my creativity and my inner child with joy and fun and pleasure, because that's what you want to get tuned into. And what's Tyler? Crap. One sec. There was this one quote, I'm just gonna pull it out, by create like a child, edit like a scientist. Yeah, what's his name? Tyler? Crap. He's really okay. I gotta look it up. I can't do that. Tyler, the creator, create like a child, edit like a scientist. He said that has solved so many things. And that's kind of the energy you have right now. I think you're releasing a lot of perfectionism, a lot of perfectionist tendencies and everything, where you can just get back into the fun again and, have some strong Leo friends that, help you get back into the fun of it all. All right. Thank you so much, Aquarius. Hi, Pisces. Okay. So you're kind of going through a back and forth with your 11th house, which is your hopes and your dreams and your wishes and your networks, and your 5th house, which is your creativity, your fun, your passion, your where your heart is calling you, what you're really excited about. I had to open that for Bimmy. But you could be going through just there's a spotlight on your hopes and your dreams and your goals. And that's going to be the most powerful way that you can really use this, because there's new seeds that want to be planted with your money. There's a new direction, new paths, new ways that you might be pivoting that are really exciting to you, because Neptune rules you. It's in the second house. So it's really focused on what do you really value? And you could be going through an evolution with this. And you could be, going through, just a really deep internal personal realignment with it, because you did have major healing with the fourth Uranus moving into the fourth, trine Pluto in the 12th, where you're clearing out a bunch of subconscious limitations and ways that you limited yourself from expressing more of your higher self, where you can be more embodied now, where you can recognize your worth and your value and what you're really passionate about, because your passions are, bringing you in that money too. It's your passions are that bigger direction that you need to be focused on, because that's going to help you grow and evolve into whole new directions and more embodiment of who you are, so you can create the bigger reality that you want to create. So really focus on the dreams and the goals that might be outdated, that maybe you just had those dreams and goals because that's what you thought was possible, for that, like back at the time when you made the dream, when you made the goal, that's all you thought was possible. But now, this whole new era and the technology and all of that, you can really see there's a whole new way to create abundance, and a whole new way to create abundance that is more from your heart and more from your soul. And you can kind of just become aware of what you can release, so you can start creating what you really want to create. And you could be receiving just really profound dreams and insights, and just like flash downloads, actually, because the 11th house is kind of like, a bolt of lightning that, hits you, and you just have those profound insights. And at the same time, just this Pluto Uranus trine, you're really just having profound dreams, possibly, with what you deeply need at that core. What is deeply soulfully meaningful to you, and then what do you need for more of that stability, and more of that stability in relationships too. Because Mars getting closer to this South Node in your 7th house, maybe there's definitely some friendships that you're letting go of, that you've outgrown, that you've maybe been too in service of and given too much of your time and your energy. So it's time to bring it back to you. You got to bring it back to you and focus on what are you what are you collaborating? Who are you collaborating with? And who are you hanging out with that is more like-minded and more willing and excited about going towards these bigger structures and goals that you are aligning with. So it's like a release of the old hopes, dreams, and goals, so you can be in tune with bigger and more imaginative and more just soulfully fulfilling dreams and goals that are going to be really important to you. So this is a really powerful full moon to release any friends that maybe you've outgrown for now, any old ways of looking at the future and old ways of looking at what you can possibly create that you can release, so you can be in alignment with a higher timeline and with the right relationships, and focusing on how can you make powerful alliances, new friends, new like-minded people that are really pumping you up, and they're not draining you or sucking you dry and your compassion dry. So make sure you are finding communities and like-minded people that are inspiring you and just motivating you, and that are aligned with your heart and your passions. And yeah, so grateful optimism came out. Joyous view of the future. There we go. Yep, you need to look at the future. You need to be excited, and just when you get into that grateful heart, when you feel gratitude every day, you can receive a lot of downloads and a lot of just visions for your future with this Capricorn full moon. So definitely spend some time, holding a lot of gratitude in your heart so you can receive, and then make a vision board. Yeah, there's something that you're passionate about. Two of Fire came out. So this could be like a romantic interest with the Sun and Jupiter in the 5th house. You're meant to find fun, and you're meant to date, and you're meant to find, a lot of excitement that way. You can, meet somebody new that you end up dating, and it ends up getting serious. And it's just like this pivotal, fated direction that you're really meant to go in. So make sure you're following your passion and actually taking action on it, because it'll help you get out of this anxiety. You know, sometimes with Pluto and Uranus and such, like in our, like it's so much shaking loose of like the old programs of who we thought we were, so we can shake out like what's actually not us, because you're getting aligned at that deeper core level from your soul, and you're letting yourself go through this evolution. And I think by following your fun and following your passion and being excited about that, it'll help you get out of this mental anxiety that might be going on, in this mental self-sabotage that is stopping you from going after your bigger dreams and goals. So, and then the Virgin archetype came out. I'm pulling out archetype cards so we bring awareness with what we're evolving out of, or maybe there's an archetype that needs to evolve out of in your life. But the Virgin came out. So light attribute, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit, shadow, fear of intimate union. Let me get clarity on that. Okay, so yeah, just be very yeah, this is a great full moon to really purify your heart. If there was any blockages, if there was any way that it looks like for some of you, somebody is definitely coming your way. Somebody or this is either somebody, or this is a creative opportunity or co-collaboration that is coming your way. So it's going to help you kind of go on this adventure towards your dreams that you might not even be like connected to yet. But if you follow it, if you're following your passion and your excitement, and you're following the little the message that is coming your way, that is like an opportunity, then as long you can trust yourself, as long as your heart is open and your spirit is open and you're ready to receive, and you're not like keeping yourself away from intimacy, or not putting yourself out there in dating, or not expressing yourself and your creativity from your heart, then that's what's going to open up this big, beautiful future vision for you. All right. Thank you so much, Pisces. Oh my God, it's Aries time. They're getting fired up. Wait one sec. I gotta shut this door. Aries, there is a spotlight at your work, this is your legacy. This is who you are out in the world, what you're really known for, what you do. And there's a spotlight there, and there's old ways, old things that are being ready to release. And this could be an old role that you've, outgrown at work. This could be dealing with an authority figure, and maybe they're stepping down. This could be switching up roles at work. This could be a new opportunity that you see. But either way, you're shifting in a really big way. With Saturn and Neptune in your first house, there is a way that you're just very inspired, and you got your fire back in a big way. And you're dissolving a lot of the old limitations of who you thought you were, the old identities that you had. And so you can step into that more inspired version of yourself. You can easily get in like a visualization of who you want to become, and embody that more inspired version of yourself, that bigger version of yourself. So you can recognize how much the old limitations are dissolving, and you're receiving that bigger inspiration of what you possibly want to go after. And and I love how Uranus is here too, because like you're meant to be influential. Your voice is way more powerful now. And it's really powerful when it is like authentic and raw and not, edited so much anymore. So maybe you are stepping into a leadership role, or you're recognizing what business and structure that you want to take on to start planting those seeds, for your future, for what you want to be ultimately out in the world. So this is a really big realignment with work, career, what you're ambitious about, what you do you want to achieve. Um, and there could be a back and forth with home and family. You know, maybe for some of you, you need to spend more time with home and family. Maybe roles and dynamics need to be switched up. Maybe you want to spend more time at work, so people need to take on responsibilities at home. But but this is all about getting into alignment with what role you're taking on out in the world, what needs to be released, and how can you get realigned with that? Because who you are out in the world too does have to do with family. Like if you need more family time, just, you know, maybe say it to the boss and, you know, just like retreat back into home, like give yourself time to work from home. Even there's a lot of luck and expansion with home. You could work from home. If you've been wanting to work more remotely or something. Working remotely would be really powerful with Pluto in Uranus in third house too. So definitely explore that if you want to. Um, but yeah, you could be receiving some praise and recognition, or if, you know, if you're just wanting to make a pivot, this is the time to make a pivot and you could receive a very abundant opportunity. But this is kind of recognizing the mountain that you've climbed, and maybe there's bad patterns of like overworking or being, or where you could be more ambitious. Either way, really get into what you're passionate about and recognize what mountain do you want to climb. Because I mean, just in general, I love this Uranus trine Pluto making a sextile to um you know, Saturn and Neptune in your first house. Like this is where the power's at. Like it's kind of like you being a visionary, and visionary did come out. This is the archetype that came out reverse. So I think you need to step up more as that visionary. So visionary, when like capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. In shadow, selling insights to the highest bidder, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. So you're stepping into the role of being the visionary, actually, where you can take the lead even more so, where you can take on the responsibility that you really choose, you know. So if you're not happy at your work, this is a time where you could switch it up or even become an entrepreneur and be really, really powerful with it. With Uranus in the third house, you can pick up skills, you know, from if you take a class, you can pick up skills. Like if you want to learn AI or, you know, technology stuff, you could pick it up really fast. Your mind is elevating like in a massive way. You can take on knowledge at a really fast rate. And it is just important to be aware and connect it to your heart, because you are receiving ideas like massively right now. And you could just be following your curiosity and seeing where that takes you. But that could be really powerful. So you follow your curiosity, see where it takes you, and see what you know, what is really meant for you. Because usually when you follow your curiosity, you're going to find like those ideas and that information and whatever you need to know, so you can really connect with the right like-minded people and build out in the world. So you could be starting a social media and it could go viral really, really quickly. Actually, I definitely suggest like you guys be on social media if you want to do it. You could be a digital nomad. You could, you know, really decide to start teaching and start learning. But connecting with a group with like-minded people is going to make you really, really powerful. So it is really time to follow your happiness and, you know, really that full embodiment of yourself and, you know, being that bold, sovereign creator, um, and recognize your ability to do that so you can ground that bigger vision into this reality, because, you know, this is what it's time for. So you need to get aligned with your vision and what you want to create and release anything that's really not in alignment with that. As the sun came out, you're meant to follow your happiness. You're meant to, you know, be a little bit, you're meant to be bold. You're meant to be courageous. You're meant to be sovereign. And you can, it is the time for that. It's the time for you to do that. And clairvoyance came out. So you are also very intuitive right now and being kind of guided in the right direction. So recognize like the power of just your truth and your voice and your visionary ideas and your ability to be, a leader and go conquer the world. And that's kind of what this full moon can get you really in alignment with. And again, it can be creating a structure and work that is more fulfilling and more in flow with the core of who you are. It doesn't need to look like the work and the structures that are currently there right now. You can start within first, and then go out and build that vision that you are feeling aligned with. And release any old ways of being out in the world that haven't been serving you. And it could be just old ways of thinking about the world too. All right. Thank you so much, Aries. Hi, Taurus. So this is happening in your ninth house. So when there's a full moon in your ninth house, you're really getting aligned with your purpose and your beliefs about the world and your worldview. You could be releasing old stagnant beliefs that aren't really serving you anymore. And these could be dogmatic, they could just be limiting, because the ninth house is also like our worldview and our vision of what we can possibly manifest out in the world. So you are getting in alignment with that in a way that is more in alignment with you. Because with this stuff in the third house, you're just more optimistic on a daily basis. You're kind of more in your intuitive flow and everything, the feminine flow. And maybe when it comes to beliefs with how you thought you had to manifest your reality, they can majorly shift right now. Your beliefs create your reality. So you want to make sure that you have very empowering beliefs of what's like helping you go out and build that ultimate vision. And you're just really getting in alignment with, at that deeper core of who you are. I will mention, Pluto and Uranus trine, this is what's helping you out in your legacy. There's a new way of doing things out in the world. There's a new way of being out in the world that is going to be in alignment with the core of who you are. And, also maybe you're creating more so from the soul. Yeah. So why did I say it like that? So you might be creating more so from the soul and getting in tune with just being in flow in your everyday, and really in tune with this Cancer energy, the feminine energy, where you just do live moment to moment to moment, and you are just more in the abundant flow, and everything's beautiful, and everything is just working out at the right place at the right time. So you can let go of just being too rigid in general, especially with Mars going over the South Node in Virgo. We're releasing, when it comes to creating, we're releasing how we used to be too controlled or too boxed in or too analytical. And maybe we can allow ourselves to just create in the way that just feels very expansive. Again, Tyler, the creator, he said, create like a child, edit like a scientist. I think that's really helpful for kind of what you're going through. So this could be a really abundant time to really plant seeds for any passion projects, if you want to start a podcast, a new marketing strategy, a new way of, being on social media. You can really just create an abundant flow in your everyday life and really prioritize that and see how that shifts your beliefs. So you can have the ultimate expansion. And maybe you do decide to learn something that is like spirituality, that is a religion, or, some sort of higher learning. Knowledge is power. So I would definitely encourage that, really expand on your knowledge so you have the freedom and flexibility that you want out in the world. Because the new era is really starting out behind the scenes with Saturn and Neptune in your 12th house. You're getting aligned at that deeper core soul level of who you truly are, behind the scenes. So you can create from the soul. So you can create something that really lasts the test of time. And so you're creating for things that will ultimately serve, the greater good of humanity. And this true soulful alignment that you have could be make it or could be, no, it will make you more powerful with who you are out in the world and how you can show up more so as your authentic self, and how you can maybe show up out in the world like more so as a leader, or standing up to authority figures, and let yourself go through this like transformation with it. Know that you're, at the right place at the right time. You're really meant to be powerful. And the more that you can get in touch with this higher aspect of yourself, and speak from your higher self and create from your higher self, it'll really just open up your world. With Saturn, Neptune in the 12th house, you're really just opened to mystical insight. You're open to just portals to the divine, so really give yourself that internal like realignment, and make sure you're really listening in. And maybe this is, comes with some sort of just emotional release too. Like maybe you looked at the world in a certain way and it was like so stuck and so rigid, and finally you're just like releasing it, and you're realizing you can really be that bitch, you can be that boss out in the world. I love what Rihanna did with Pluto in the 10th. She built her industry empire. She built her empire in a fun way, just focusing on what she loves. And everything that she did ended up really just unique, and you could tell it was really from her soul and just the core of who she is. And that's how we can all receive kind of insight, or how we can all receive praise, and how we can all kind of build in that way, because you can tell when people build from the soul and people put like what's truly inside of them out into the world. So realize, your value is something that you have already. You don't have to earn it. It is more so about releasing old mindsets and old blocks that, might have kept you stuck, or stuck or stopped from recognizing your own value and your own worth, or recognizing even your own gifts. But you can really get realigned in a very powerful way to recognize your own gifts and have a very positive mindset in your everyday life, and establish new solid beliefs of what you want to create out in the world in a really powerful way that is from the soul. And that will be more easy and flow and abundant. So affirmations for this. Any limiting mindsets that you need to change. You could just say, I am the best at what I do. I get paid to exist. I am lovable. Everybody loves me. I have the best relationships. The 9th house has to deal with all beliefs. So any beliefs that have been stopping you, and wherever you're lacking, like set an empowering intention, and really like visualize and ground it into reality, and this reality. And maybe make a vision board, and maybe take this first step towards creating what your soul really wants you to create. All right. Or wait, anything else? Maybe say another affirmation is like, I am rooted in my purpose and in my soulful expression. There. For the world. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Taurus. Oh, wait, your cards. Okay. So you are summoning your power. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I almost, you are summoning your power because you're releasing the trickster energy. And with the trickster that came out reversed, I think this is where you might have, what is that called? Imposter syndrome, where you thought like you having your natural like gifts and your skills, and it comes so easily to you. You thought by embracing them that you were tricking the world, so you couldn't do them because, you weren't valuing, you didn't, or it's kind of like a mix, like you weren't valuing them enough, but also like you weren't giving them to the right people that would value them also. So it's kind of like you recognizing the value of your ability to manifest and your ability to, own your gifts and give them to the world and not hold on to them and not keep them in the, private area of your life forever. It's time to bring them out into the world so you can be more of your who you authentically are and live in that higher purpose. So the trickster energy came out. Light attribute, transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. And that's exactly what you're doing with this full moon in Capricorn. You're getting out of the stuffy behavior in the, Mars crossing the South Node. Shadow, though, is manipulating others through duplicity. I mean, you're not in the shadow. You're just like, you're recognizing like where the world was too stuffy before, where you can kind of get into the beauty again and into the enjoyment of life and make the world more beautiful, because you're supposed to do that as a Taurus rising. And messenger of fire. Yep, there's downloads, insights coming in with this full moon. So make sure you're receiving them. This is kind of going to give you insight into how you can summon more of your power, and summon your power in a, way that you're connected to your big dreams and insights in a delusional way. And it's good to be delusional. That's what you're getting in tune with. You're releasing where you weren't delusional, so you could be delusional to manifest your best reality, but that you can manifest it in a way that is delusional and fantastical, but also practical and structured. We can ground the delusional into structure, and you have the instinct and intellect and the abilities to do that already. All right. Thank you so much, Taurus. Hi, Gemini. So this is a big full moon in your 8th house, and the 8th house is a darker house. It is where we deal with death, taxes. Not saying anyone's going to die, but that is like where we deal with like the deeper, intense parts of being a human. So there's a light here, and it's bringing up some of the shadows. But whenever that happens, there's always a gift in the shadow. It's something that was repressed, something that like we didn't fully heal and that we just shoved down for another day. And when it comes up, it's good because it's coming up to be, so we have awareness around it, and that's all we need, awareness and love and compassion, so we can release it. And this could have to do with ways that you merged with people in the past. The 8th house is how we merge with people financially, psychologically, sexually, that we can become aware of, so we can release the old ways that we did things in the past that weren't helpful to us, so we can have stronger connections in the future and stronger financial ways of spending, and a stronger emotional foundation too. And there could be just stuff that was hidden here that is a part of the old system, and it was just the way you did things back in the day. And now there's awareness about that, and you're recognizing more. So, crap, one sec. Because with this second house being highlighted, you are recognizing the abundance that can come in, and the abundance that can come in when you do value yourself, when you do have a lot of self-love. And the 8th house is where you can love the shadow part of yourself even. And so you can be very magnetic to all the things that you want, whether it is a relationship or a job opportunity or whatever you truly desire. And at the same time, we're looking at the future in a big delusional way. With Neptune and Saturn in the 11th house, we have really big dreams and goals and aspirations, and possibly just a lot of inspired ideas coming in. But it's time to ground one of them. And maybe you aren't grounding one of them or acting on one of them because of some fear or anxiety about something, because the 8th house is where we don't do something out of fear or shame or what will they say, or worried about projections. And this is a very powerful full moon where you can get really aligned with that bigger dream and that bigger vision that allows you to step into that bigger identity, because Uranus in the first house, like you're stepping into that bigger identity. So you can walk in that vision, you can walk as your future self. You can be your future self. You can just be like be it and see how like the right opportunities and the right like people are actually magnetized to you, and how you'll find more of those like-minded people that you should really work with, because Saturn might be cutting out certain people or certain relationships, saying like, oh, you might not be like just aligning anymore, there's a different path you need to go on. And Uranus going into your first house, yeah, it could shake up a lot, whether it is a relationship, where it is like jobs, whatever's getting shaken up, though, it's not meant for you. It's meant to be shaken out, shaken up, shaken out, and out of your life just for now. So you can really get more so aligned with your inner truth and your inner vision, because your power is expanding and you need to get really serious with Saturn in the 11th house about your vision, and ground one of them, at least start working on one of them with this Capricorn full moon. Really plant the seed, whether it is like making a plan or making a vision board, but this is the seed that's being planted that can show you the true embodiment of your true self that you can step into being now. So you can wake up every day starting now and being that person, and just watch the magic kind of happen into your life, because you just have ultimate manifester. Like the universe wants to be like, here you go, you can make your dreams come true. You just have to have the right beliefs, you have to be hanging around the right people, and you got to get out of your own way, and you got to authentically be yourself. Don't hold yourself back. Don't try to fit into any boxes or any ways of performing for others, or trying to fit any others, like any other people's expectations. You can receive like major just insights and downloads with like when you do free yourself too, because when you do free all of your shadows, you create more room of like your life force energy to really flow through you. So you can receive like that bigger soulful guidance and those downloads and those insights with where you're supposed to go and how you can make magic happen out in the world. So bam, Taurus just got this too. You're summoning your power with instinct, intellect, and control. And like I said, for Taurus, you can be delusional. You can think very in a dreamlike way, in a very grand, empowered way, but you have to ground it into reality. And you can be, well, wait, no, you can be dreamy and strategic at the same time. So do that and have that biggest dream possible, and align with that powerful vision that you see as truth, because there's a powerful soulful way that you're aligning with your soulful truth in your Dharma timeline right now, so you can make this manifestation happen. But yeah, recognize your ability to shapeshift, and shapeshifting isn't a bad. Okay, wait, well, I'll read the shapeshifter, light and dark. I mean, it's not bad, it's how you use it, obviously. So light attribute, skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness, ability to see potential in everything. Shadow, projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. So yeah, you want to be able to have that vision that is just really true to your heart and your soul, and that you're not performing for anyone, you're not trying to be liked, you're not trying to shift into anybody else's agenda, you're just in your agenda, and that's a good thing. You can just be in, well, I don't like how it says personal agenda, because your personal agenda that is more so from that higher soulful aspect is like for the highest good of all. So it's okay to have a personal agenda, but you want to be firm in whatever dream and agenda that is. And you don't want to dim it down or shape and morph to make anybody else happy, or make anybody else like, make anybody else kind of like the agenda or approve of the agenda or vision. the people that get it will just get it. The more you can be more of your authentic self, the more you will attract in the kindred spirits that just get it, they see it, they're vibing with it. And, then you can make that bigger vision and work with the collective and, put it out into the world. So this is a great time to really like start, any projects, like whether it's a social media project or a bigger co-collaboration or a podcast or anything that you've been wanting to start that you've been kind of excited about. Definitely, plant the seeds and do that and get in tune with that bigger dream and recognize your ability to easily live the dream now. So you just have to have that dream and make sure that you're heading towards that dream and reminding yourself of that dream so you can embody it, on a daily basis. And yeah, so the moon came out. So there's just a lot of subconscious hidden fears that will come to the surface and even emotions. But I think that'll massively just clear you out and everything. And the more awareness that you have, the more that you can recognize your ability to create for the, highest good of all and from a place that's, of your soul truth and of integrity. And yeah, Tower moment came out too. This is big. I'm going to pull one more card. Two major arcanas came out. So the Tower moment, revealing what's hidden, and then the Tower, that's the Uranus card. That's what's shaking up your life right now with it entering the first house. And that is, the most that is the major place for it to hit where it would cause a little chaos. So but recognize whatever's in whoa and patience, the Temperance card, King of Air. Okay, so three major arcanas came out. The Temperance card, which is you got to have patience. Don't have a knee-jerk reaction. Don't jump too fast. I think this is a full moon where you can really visualize and spend a decent time releasing. But it's good to be patient right now because you're balancing out the material and the spiritual and making that connection, balancing out the mind and the heart so you can create the best outcome for you by becoming aware of what was hidden from yourself or from others. There's just emotions that are going to give you more of that wisdom. So this Tower won't be so bad. I like, just Uranus energy. It is the Tower. And when the Tower happens, then you focus on the Star, which is that vision. And then, you could also be the Fool, which jumps into that vision like head first and just like runs with it in the new chapter and, leaves all this heaviness in the past and everything. So let the Tower moment happen. Be very patient. Know another opportunity will come to you and be put like on, you'll see the opportunity. It'll come to you very easily, but be patient for it to show up if chaos is happening right now. Because whatever's happening, because the moon and the Tower aren't the most comfortable cards to come out. It's like this Tower moment, shocking moment happens. So, these deeper emotions or awareness happens, but it turns you into the King of Air, which is a master builder who can build from a place of more wisdom and more knowledge and just kind of have that wider perspective of seeing things. So you can build things with a cool mind, with a cool head, with just that far off distance, and acting a little unbothered, because the King of Air has been through it all, seen it all, but he knows how to build from a place of smartness and coolness and fairness for the good of all. So yeah, and this is like just a shape-shifting time for you right now. You are finding the way that you want to express yourself out in the world so that you can have a lot of fun with discovering the way you're self-actualizing. And yeah, see how that goes, because actually you're just summoning more of your power. All right. Thank you so much, Gemini. Hi. Hi, Cancer. Okay, so this full moon is happening in your seventh house, which has to do with your relationships. There's a spotlight on your relationships, and it's going to put a spotlight on dynamics, on patterns in relationships. And there could be shifts and changes in your relationships, ultimately for your highest good, because Sun and Jupiter are in your first house. So there's a big focus and expansion on you. You want to be focused on yourself and, planting those seeds, and you're illuminated and you're meant to be shining out in the world. And you're also meant to be focused on planting these seeds with this whole new era of the direction that you want to go in. So there could be relationships that, might be a little too stuffy or more conventional and they don't see your vision. But one sec, Beanie, what? Rigid relationships that maybe don't see this bigger view that you have of your legacy with what you want to create out in the world. There's seeds that you're planting with your legacy, your career, your structure, what you want to create out in the world, and how can you be that bigger, glamorous version of yourself, of what you're really seeing, what you're really downloading. And I'm going to pull two of these cards for you because I like the one that came out. But you're also at the same time, you've been through this, like, definitely a transformative moment, or you're going through it right now with Uranus trine Pluto. You're being released from the past in a big way, and maybe the way that you didn't see things in the past, with just past patterns, subconscious patterns or loops or cycles that you have outgrown. And this could be a deep emotional and intense healing and emotional purge. So you make room for the light that's really coming in, because light is definitely coming in. Healing Earth came out, like your ability to power to give and receive healing, because your superpower is your ability to hone this feminine energy. So it really is about you and your vision, and you recognizing your worth and the boundaries that you need to set for this bigger dream and goal. And it's really important to really maybe ground some of your bigger dream and goal into a plan, or even make a vision board for it, or make a structure for it, or take the first step with this Capricorn full moon, and recognize not everyone's going to like it, but you're going to find like-minded people and people that will align with you in a more powerful way, that will actually be more fulfilling and more sustainable and, nurturing on both sides. So stay true to your vision and your expansion right now with Jupiter and the Sun in your first house. You got to focus on your growth and where you're going and where you're inspired, and, where your soul is really calling you, because this could be a very powerful time where you're aligning with your soulful expression and how you want to express yourself out in the world. So it's all about aligning with those bigger goals and those bigger ambitions that you're really passionate about, that really kind of like that fire. And it doesn't need to be a structure that fits all the previous structures, of the past. And that's like your superpower. I think you, out of anybody, can really create a structure that is, more in flow and more aligned with, your spiritual purpose and, your plan, and that you can be so rooted in yourself and your vision and what you want, and so internally aligned with it, that it'll be easy to manifest this, this structure or this legacy or this whatever you want to do out in the world in an easier way. So this is a great time to really reclaim your power, build for us all, like something that can show the world that you can build something more from that creative energy and that creative flow first. I think that's how the world should work, actually, is like really getting in tune with this feminine energy and this alignment and this more present moment to moment, connecting with the quantum, letting things come together in a more flowful way. that you can be very natural with, that you can plant the seeds for now. And yeah, so good moon for inner alignment and reflecting on what relationships are supporting you and which ones maybe you need to let go of. Because this will also kind of show you, you could have a massive release of where you were maybe codependent in relationships, where you latched on too hard, where you needed others' approval before you did anything, where maybe you were just holding yourself back out of fear of judgment or fear of other people's projections, whatever it is, where you're free from it now with this Uranus Pluto, like clearing it out, releasing all the blocks from the past, so you can really just open up to more of that soulful expression and more of that soulful abundance. And you might dig deep during this full moon, just so you do recognize your relationships and how you merge in relationships, because the eighth house is how you merge psychologically, financially, and why is this so hard? Sexually, obviously. Okay. But release all of the blocks from the past so you can have more fulfilling relationships for the future, where you're not afraid to go deep, where you're not afraid to trust, where the right ones will come in, and you do allow yourself to soften to that too. And since Saturn is your seventh house ruler, there could be just new types of relationships that are entering your life that are, opening you up in some way and letting you kind of be more so in your softness. Okay, so a whole new chapter is starting. The World card came out. So be prepared for that. And this whole new chapter that's starting, you're also envisioning this world first. It's kind of like this is in your mind's eye right now, and you're seeing the progression of it, and you'll be able to see the progression of it easier and easier the more you spend your time imagining your legacy or your business or whatever you really want to create out in the world. And I don't know, fast love I think is coming in. Love, eight of wands. So eight of wands is fast movement, coming in fast. There's a whole new world coming in really fast with strong relationships. The Strength card came out. So a relationship that is loyal, that is vulnerable, that goes deep with you. The Strength card always comes out when it's like a relationship that has had to go deep in some way and really get to some of the core of who they are. So, you're just like stronger after that. And yeah, get ready to receive because it's coming in fast. So the more that you're clearing out, the emotional stuff and any of the blocks, it'll come in fast and hot. Definitely hold space for grateful optimism. Hold that grateful optimism so you have that joyous view of the future. So you receive those downloads and those insights that are coming from your soul so strongly right now in a powerful way that you need to receive. Because all of that in this whole new path and direction is going to be really healing for you and healing for Earth. So Healing Earth also came out, the power to give and receive healing. And you might be doing this with a powerful co-collaboration. All right. Thank you so much, Cancer. Hi, Leo. So you are definitely evolving out of karma with this one because the 6th house, 12th house is all about evolving out of karma. The 12th house is like that unconscious karma, those loops and those patterns and those cycles that we get stuck in from, past lives and just being unaware, keeping it in the subconscious and not being totally aware of it. But with the sun here, we're definitely becoming aware of that. And then also what we want to create now, because we're also really, really in touch with our higher self and loosening all the boundaries and the blocks that kept us from really being connected to our higher self. So we can be in tune with those bigger passions that want to come through us, from our higher self. So you could be receiving a lot of just downloads and insights and inspiration, and just more of that connection to your feminine flow and the feminine, which is more so listening to your heart and listening to your imagination and the creativity that does want to come through you, that makes you recognize you can build a structure and daily routines that are more so in flow with your higher self. So this full moon, you could be releasing old unhealthy habits, could be bad food, could be a bad diet, could be a bad work habit of like working too hard and being a workaholic, which Leos tend to do. But this could also be just where you're completing some, just extra work that you took on, that could be karmic just from, past lives. Sometimes we get tossed like work from other people to do just randomly here. So we complete it, and, it's not like it's part of that karma that we're releasing. And then so we can, really focus more so on what's deeply important, because we are starting a whole new era, with the ninth house. And this whole new era, with Saturn and Neptune here, this is where we're planting the seeds. This is where we're really getting aligned with the future and our future dreams and our goals and our vision. And it's kind of like a pivot point. It's kind of like we're recognizing, all the Leos, we haven't been able to be shiny. We've been, slaves for with the Pluto that was in Capricorn. We've been, kind of behind the scenes, needing to be of service, needing to, take corporate jobs, needing to do those things versus being more aligned with our soulful path and direction. But now we're starting to see at least like this bigger soulful direction and purpose, and that bigger dream that we need to take seriously, and we need to ground it into reality so we can live out our purpose. And it's still responsibility, but it is lighter than the sixth house responsibility. So we need to be open to receiving, messages from our higher self, and, really following what we're passionate about. What are our beliefs? What is our purpose, and really get in alignment with that. Because we are transforming our beliefs at the same time. With Neptune here, it's kind of like we're connecting to different belief structures, which could be cross-cultural, or it could be like astrology and tarot and human design or whatever, where we can find oneness again. Because when we get to with where we have the superpower here is Neptune is believing in everything and believing in the oneness of humanity. At the end of the day, we are all one. And the more that we can expand our vision in our spiritual view, the more we can have our own expansion out in the world, and kind of more of an open heart to receive everything and everyone. So we're connecting also just at that deeper soulful level with our, integrity, and building a belief system that is personally ours, because Saturn is personal. I mean, Aries is personal. So we're each individually coming up with beliefs that work for us, and we're living it out to see if it actually works. So if we can tell people like if, what really works and what doesn't work, and what, stands the test of time. Okay. So really focus on your beliefs, and that is the most important thing. And that's how you're going to manifest this ultimate vision and live out your purpose, and be magnetized towards the right people in the right strong relationships. Because Uranus in the 11th house, we're going to be magnetized, pulling in strong relationships. Also with Pluto. Pluto actually repels or magnetizes in too. So powerful relationships want to come in that help us build But it starts with us and our vision and us being aligned with the way that we connect to the quantum, universe in the way that, the way that everybody does. But like, it's really, really important for us. Like, we need to go in and hold to that vision so we can let our dreams manifest in such a moment to moment way, in such an effortless way, with all the right relationships coming together and all the opportunities and just things kind of magnetizing to us, like, because everyone's attracted to the sun. um but we have to get serious about our vision and beliefs first, and that's how it's all going to work. Okay, so recognize the old stuff that you are done with. Spend some time releasing old karmic cycles, like that you maybe are fearing that you even have to go back into, because you just need to recognize that you are meant to be empowered now. And it's more about you being following your heart, following your happiness, really being in tune with source and how you connect to source and the quantum, so you can attract all the abundance to you in this new way, in this new really powerful way. um so recognize, like, yeah, maybe there's old just relationships that you're releasing right now. Sometimes sixth house can reflect that too. That's old karmic relationships where we're releasing because, they not everyone's supposed to, come into our life forever. Sometimes it's just for a reason or a season. But we do need relationships that align with our beliefs, that are very powerful and magnetizing. And we are meant to have powerful alliances that support us into this higher calling right now. Okay, so read or building your world came out. So you are building your world and you are getting in touch with that vision first. So there's going to be a lot of creation, expansion, and networking. How perfect is that? Exactly. But it starts with getting in tune with you first. You see, she's meditating, she's receiving everything she needs to know. You already have everything that you need. You just need to receive it. So you can, you know, embody this divine masculine energy. So you can have a balance between the feminine and the masculine. It looks like this is, yeah, just a major rebalancing of the masculine and the feminine energy. So you can build a system and a structure that is more in flow and alignment with yourself and your soul, and what's going to really work for you. So you can be more in your masculine that is, just very in tune with source. The healthy masculine is in tune with source and takes action because, you feel that passion, you feel that excitement, and you just know the right place and the right time, to do it. So you're very intuitive right now. Listen to your intuition, because that's what's going to bring in, and being, yeah, in your self-care and self-love and self-compassion in receiving mode. That's where the abundance is. You got to release working too hard and feeling like you need to do everything for everybody. That's the old era. You need to, kind of self-care, self-love, work on your passion projects, work on receiving the insight from your higher self, and listening to your intuition and being in flow with that. And that's where the money will come from, because that's how Jupiter is going to square trying the North Node, and that's going to bring in a lot of emotional internal stability, but also potentially financial stability. And then there are co-collaborators coming. So Three of Earth came out. You're finding your community, you're finding your tribe that will help you build. And the Two of Earth, it will be from more balance. So recognize where things are out of balance in your relationships and community also. And then the archetype came out was damsel. So let's see. Damsel, when light understands the nature of healthy romance, inspires you to rely on yourself. Shadow, waiting for a knight to provide for you, seduction by romantic illusions. So yeah, at the same time, we are evolving massively into these powerful relationships. And that's what relationships are going to be in the future. It's two self-empowered people coming together and not clinging anymore out of fear or the old ways that we used to merge in relationships, where there was like the negative codependencies and tying to each other and keeping one down or the other down. There is a way that in all situations you can claim your power back to yourself and, you know, evolve into these powerful relationships. Because with Pluto here, there will be underlying dynamics that we will evolve out of and we will become more aware of. And the more that you recognize that you are living in this higher truth and purpose and beliefs now, that you can recognize how you've evolved out of these old karmic dynamics when it comes to relationships. Bring the power back to yourself. Realize that you are the creator of your reality, and the more that you do that, the more you give yourself the power in the present moment to start manifesting this reality in such an easy, powerful, and abundant way, with connecting with new relationships and a new vision. And yeah, connecting with your deeper soulful self and essence and divine inspiration at the same time, which always feels great and exciting, actually. Okay, so anything else? Nope. Let your masculine go through this evolution. Mars is crossing the South Node, so yeah, I think you're learning how to work smarter and not harder at the same time. You know, that you can achieve a lot of abundance when you are so in tune with this, you know, healthy feminine energy and having a healthy masculine energy. So love this for you, Leos. You know, you're learning how to create your dreams with the right relationships, with a balance of feminine and masculine energy, which we're all trying to balance out. And I think for some of you, there might just be a powerful relationship that is like very co-collaborative for you at the same time, with healthy feminine energy and healthy masculine energy. And then hopefully you both have a balance in integration of it in each other, masculine and feminine. But this is also recognizing where, you know, if you clearing out the blocks of the past and you know, certain relationships, that you can have these very healthy, very co-collaborative and balanced dynamics. And then I have this song playing in my head. It's called Happiness. Oh yeah, by Alexis Jordan. It goes, through strength I found love, in time I found myself. Happiness. I'm not singing it. But listen to that song and see like maybe what downloads you receive and everything. And I think that song's basically just about like I don't know, finding love, but I think it's more so about finding love inside yourself and then letting that soften your heart and open you up so you can receive that true abundance that is really meant for you. You know, and so you can really, you know, be the receiver of your dreams, and yeah, being that really high vibe to receive those downloads and that insight. All right. Thank you so much, Leo. Hi, Virgo. Okay, so this is a full moon in your fifth house, where you're connecting to your fun, your passion, your enjoyment, your self-expression, your creativity. And maybe there was ways that you were too structured or too limited in your self-expression or creativity, that you can kind of release those blocks now. You're connecting to with Jupiter and the Sun in the 11th house. There is definitely a lot of expansion with bigger hopes and dreams and visions and co-collaborations, and a way that you can just achieve your highest dreams possible, with a lot more of a creative flow, more alignment with your soulful self and the divine feminine energy and your higher inspirations and insights. So this is a really good full moon to release any ways that maybe you're holding yourself from really expressing yourself because of old structures, old traditions, out of anxiety. So you can just be more fully creative with your creative direction. And you do at the same time want to get aligned with your creative expression. What are you really passionate about? What brings you joy? How can you bring that out into the world so you can inspire people, you know. So this might be you finishing up a creative project, or this might be you starting one and planting those seeds. And I like that because with Saturn and Neptune in the eighth house, there can be a massive transformational opportunity here where you do kind of express some of your creativity to bring transformation to yourself. Because the eighth house is, you know, the way to transform eighth house things is by creativity, you know. Um, it's doing what you want to do and starting that business, starting that project, starting that social media, starting that YouTube, starting that blog, and, you know, just doing it for you. You're meant to be planting seeds with where you invest your time and your energy. And the eighth house also rules like starting a business. So this is a great full moon to, you know, start that and to put it out there. So you do connect more to your joy and your inner passions and put it out into the world and get past any of those fears of not doing what you want to do because of society or what will people think, or, you know, whatever. But you're really connecting to what lights you up and what are your gifts that are actually meant to be shared out with the world. And you're kind of meant to be a little bit more radical out in the world with Uranus in the 10th house. And I think by you being more radical out in the world can really shift things for you, can really bring a massive transformation. Uranus in the 10th, you can really be magnetic to certain people and opportunities, and just not you're not meant to follow the traditional anymore when it comes to what you're doing. You're meant to be innovative. You're meant to be um looking towards the distant future, and you're meant to be visionary, and you can receive many downloads and just lightning bolts of ideas when it comes to your business. And this is the creativity that's like getting aligned, so you put your creativity out there into the world and out into businesses, because Steve Jobs invented the iPhone, you know, that was creativity also. Like creativity doesn't always have to be like art or music, but it can be also if you want to do whatever you're feeling called towards, though. But with Uranus in the 10th house, there might be sudden shifts with who you are out in the world and how you have been seen so far, but you're feeling really inspired or really entrepreneurial. You want to be the maverick, the rebel, you want to be different. You will be rewarded. So it is time to do that and to release any ways that you've been limiting yourself from doing that. Because when you release all of the blocks with the 5th house, which is your creative self-expression in your heart, then you do allow source to kind of flow through you in a more powerful way, so you can be that visionary that is more connected to your soul and your heart. And yeah, this is the time to go after any of those career goals that might be, you know, unconventional, that might be, you know, not, that is allowing more freedom. And it's not about climbing the ladder and performing the best. It is more so about being a revolutionary, being more authentically yourself, being more so in tune with your unique path that can bring the most abundance to you. And it can bring lightning, like it can bring dream money to you too. So it is very, very important to be in tune with your creativity and release all those blocks, so you can kind of go through this revolution. It kind of is like a revolution with how who you are out in the world. So and I love Pluto too, because you are meant to be intensely focused on the structure that serves you, like the structure that serves others, but it serves you and it does empower you, because when you do empower yourself, you do empower others. And releasing what's no longer serving you anymore, you know, too many obligations. So you can have that powerful energy that's really channeled into your work for the highest good of all. And that is very regenerative for you and others. Okay, so Gamble, the archetypes came out the archetypes that came out that you might want to release, or Yeah, I'm just pulling out archetypes because we are evolving through archetypes all the time. So for this Capricorn full moon, the gambler came out, and the gambler, when light, is willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. So that's the light attribute that you can really take on. You are meant to be kind of a gambler and a little bit more in tune with your intuition, to reach the highest success right now, with Jupiter in the 11th house. That is all about being in the intuitive flow with networks and people, and with your hopes and dreams and receiving, so you can be the most abundant possible. And then Shadow relies on luck rather than hard work. So it does still require hard work to achieve your dreams, but recognize that you can, make that work, fun, and as long in a structure that really serves you. And I think that'll help you get out of a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of mental anxiety that you're going through right now with the 9 of air and the 6 of air. So recognize your ability, when you do take action, and when you do kind of, listen to that energy that is, Uranus always does kind of give you a lot of anxiety, like mental anxiety, because you just feel like you need to do something and you don't know what. So you do a little this, a little bit of that, and you could have just a ton of energy and you don't know why. And you could just feel very impulsive and needing to go do something. But it's because you're meant to find something, and you got to figure out what that is. And by you following your curiosity and putting action into things, and maybe trying a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and following your intuition, see where it takes you, because I think it'll take you in a very, very expansive direction that will really unblock your creativity and get you towards these bigger hopes and dreams, and this bigger vision that is for the highest good of all, and going to lead you towards the right relationships. So duality. Duality came out, many meanings, misunderstandings. I think you're breaking out of duality in a certain way, and that's really powerful with Aquarius in the 10th house. You can, once you see beyond duality, then you do have more power, and you can have that wisdom to unite everybody. And that is the most powerful way that Uranus in the 10th house can be expressed. And Seeker came out. So you are kind of meant to go on a journey. Light attribute, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. Shadow attribute, inability to commit to a path once found. So follow your curiosity, but definitely commit to it once you find it, because at that core level what's going to be really deeply satisfying to you at the end of the day. And when you tune into your heart and you gain that wisdom, you recognize you already have everything that you need, and you don't need to be on a constant seeking journey, and you don't need anything outside of you at the end of the day. You just need to show up as that more authentic version of you out in the world, and have that consistency and structure and routine that is empowering you, in giving you and regenerating you, then and having strong boundaries with your dreams, then I think you can make something really magical out in the world. So that is for the highest good of all. And it'll help you release the mental doubt and anxiety. You can really move on from it into a whole new level. All right. Thank you so much, Virgo. Hi, Libra. So this is happening in your 4th house of home, family, foundation. This could be a big, massive healing, a release, like emotionally at the core of who you are, of what you've been hanging on to from the past, and old family dynamics, or just the past, that you could release and kind of have more of a softening and more compassion. So you can, focus on this foundation that you really want to build for yourself. You're meant to be shining out in the world with Jupiter and the Sun in the 10th house. You're meant to be shining. You're meant to be focused on your star and your vision and what you want to possibly create out in the world. And there's a nice way that you can definitely be in tune and in flow and in receiver mode. So you can really do this in the best way possible that is, more in alignment with you and less rigid and structured in the way that maybe you were taught that it had to be in childhood. This could be a major healing, a reflection on the past and like home and family dynamics and relationship dynamics, especially because there's a whole new chapter starting with Saturn and Neptune in your seventh house. You're meant to have powerful relationships that are like open, that are full of love and compassion. And you have to heal your past first in order to have those relationships that are full of just love and compassion. So I really do like this, releasing any karmic entanglements that you might be stuck in, evolving beyond the family patterns that aren't serving for you. Sometimes when there's the fourth house is highlighted, we can have a lot of awareness with just home and family and dynamics and what could be carried on potentially that was good and what's bad. What can we release? What can we evolve out of? We can be the chain breakers, um of our family. We can do things in a different way. We can rise above. We don't need to carry this heaviness anymore. We can release it for that deep healing to the core. So we have those deep roots and those traditions and those structures that are fulfilling and that are good for us, not the ones that are, keeping us stuck and keeping us limited. But recognize your total ability to really see your whole future right now, your ability to really envision your whole future in a very powerful way where you can create structures and relationships and, just ultimate fulfillment to you in a very easy, effortless way that is more in alignment with your soul and who you truly are. So you're walking away from something heavy, something, the Eight of Cups came out. So there's something that was emotionally heavy that was definitely weighing you down and holding you back. I think you're bringing awareness to this and releasing it. So make sure you feel during this full moon, because even if you're recognizing, certain relationships in a way, like you can have this big emotional release and, free yourself into a much higher timeline, a much higher horizon. And the star came out. So you are focused on this whole new vision. It's time to open and receive. You could be super psychic right now, psychic ability, future vision. You're receiving a vision of the future that you can really plant seeds for right now, and maybe plant seeds even with a significant relationship. Because there's a way that you're shifting overall when it comes to your connection with other people. You're meant to have more compassion and love and, boundaries with your relationships that aren't, mutually respectful, but you want those relationships that are, that you're recalibrating your relationships so you can have relationships that are co-collaborative and sustainable and that will like be mutually beneficial, mutually reciprocable. Okay, why can't I say this? Mutually balanced, whatever. That are very balanced, that are kind of like maybe in spiritual and like in alignment too, with that deep love and compassion, but not not the negative spiritual connection where you do have that intense tie, but you have those unhealthy dynamics. You got to be aware of what are those dynamics that you need to evolve out of, and so you can relate more so from the soul and not relate from the ego. You want relationships that really reflect your growth and your evolution and how far you've come. and not relationships that weigh you down in any way. Because with Saturn in the seventh house, you can um, attract, or there's relationship lessons that you need to evolve out of, and you need to, yeah, not like, yeah, you need to evolve out of the karmic lessons in relationships. And yeah, you're going to have more love and compassion and care in your relationships, but you're not going to take on relationships that are going to weigh you down or keep you stuck, and that don't reflect the growth that you've had yourself. I mean, and with Uranus in your ninth house, you have the wild card of luck. So, you're meant to open up your world and open up your perspectives right now. And you're kind of meant to be a rebel. I love how rebel just came out. The archetype that you might be evolving out of is the rebel. So, light attribute challenges authority to affect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve the inner needs. Yeah, that's what you're rebelling out of right now, is like old religion that doesn't like serve the greater good and humanity, all of us. Because like all spirituality, like spirituality shouldn't be divisive, like we are humanity. But anyway, that just confuses me. I just don't know how like people still fall for that. I don't know. Anyway, so you might be a rebel, like to open up to more oneness of humanity and to broader perspectives of spirituality in the world. So you can see, just a very futuristic view of like humanity and where we're evolving into. Shadow attribute is rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. So make sure you're not, you know, merging with anybody that is a rebel with no cause, or like or that you're a rebel with no cause. um Sometimes I found Libra is a little you do get imbalanced sometimes because you do people please so much and overgive yourself so much. So it is always very important to self-reflect and make sure that your relationships are loving you as much as you love yourself. And that when you do embrace your feminine energy even more so, I heard this thing recently from another astrologer that Libra is ruled by Aries, actually, because she's Mars's sister. And that kind of makes sense. Like my mom has Libra, and when she gets to that limit of like, done, her sun is on the North Node. So when she gets to that limit of like being done with her social graces and like boom, it is chaos for everyone. And it is that emotional, that relational chaos that does like put everyone in a tailspin, and it's just like to like see how it feels. So like make sure you're integrating and that is feminine energy. That's the feminine energy that is coming out right now to bring that balance back into our societal structures. So if you're dealing with people that just don't get it and they're just trying to be like in the society the way it is right now that does not recognize the feminine energy and that deep relational like thing that you understand so well, then don't like recognize just what's not worth your time anymore. And then also don't, going Aries is fine. Like there is that chaos of but you don't want to do that either. So recognize where you don't want to get to that point, but there is a purpose to everything. And sometimes there does need to be a reflection of, a rebellious cause. So people are more understood, or so that relationship dynamic is more understood. And I don't know, the divine feminine rage just has to come out sometimes. So don't be hard on yourself if it has to come out, if it has to eject or volcano and cause a little chaos so things can be reordered. Not saying that it has to happen that way. Obviously, if you can stop it before that and just walk away, and just put more focus on creating your future and letting go of any of those dynamics that aren't serving you, then that is the best way possible. but there is a purpose for everything. So recognize, your sacred lineage, actually, that you're really deeply getting in tune with the eternal flame. And that could be that fire, that feminine rage that is just coming up, you know, everything has a sacred purpose. And, when you get reignited with that internal flame, that is igniting your ancestral legacy and that deep feminine wisdom that you just have in your bones, and masculine or feminine, we both have it. Like there's just that intuitive awareness that we have deep, deep within us that is just such a knowing. And there could be reasons that we get angry, but we're meant to remember that rage. And when you tune into that inner knowing, you remember why you have that rage. And then once you have that, you are ultimately meant to be the vessel, aligning the world with greater harmony and greater purpose and beauty out in the world. With Pluto in the fifth house, you are diving deep into, your deeper soulful expression of, creation, and you're meant to create and have a deeper understanding of what your heart is, that deeper truth, that is that soulful truth that brings you that deeper understanding with love and creation out in the world. So definitely, yeah, spend some time creating something too. Like if you get a vision to create something, do it. Like you're meant to have all your past gifts from past lives online now, so you can create more beauty, harmony, and yeah, just beauty out in the world in a more evolved form. Because sometimes also, like, instead of arguing, you can bring that soulful awareness to something very deep by creating, and it releases you from that too. And it uplifts you onto a higher timeline. All right, thank you so much, Libra. Hi, Scorpio. Okay, so this is a nice, beautiful Capricorn full moon in your third house. And when that happens, you clear out things in your everyday life that you do that aren't serving you anymore. Maybe you were too little rigid and structured, and maybe you took on too much responsibility. This is the time where you can clear it out, make it not your problem anymore, because you are finding the power with being more so in your flow, because not all of us can flow so easily. You are a water sign. You can flow and connect to this Jupiter and Sun in the ninth house, where you're getting onto your Dharma timeline, your highest timeline, and you can, just be open to receiving more abundance and more opportunities and the right jobs and the right relationships that are really meant for you, that are, really just in alignment with that bigger direction and vision that you're going in. This is kind of letting go of needing to do, achieve, check off the list, and recognizing when you get in tune with that bigger vision on a daily basis, like first thing in the morning, 10 minutes, have it like really visualize and receive like your future and the future that you want. What kind of relationship, what kind of job, how do you want to live? What is that higher version of yourself doing, and how does he or she live? And that's how you can kind of reorganize your life in a day-to-day process, like moment to moment, and letting those bigger goals be achieved in a way that is more in flow with who you truly are, and less about doing things in the way that everyone else does. But this can also release, old mentalities that were keeping you stuck. Maybe you're releasing an old project that you're just done with, you're finished with, and now it's time to look at the bigger and the inspiring, the new, what you're really excited about. With Neptune and Saturn in the sixth house, there can be a lot of frustration when it comes to work and your routines. And maybe things are just a little messy and all over the place. But the more that you put yourself first, and the more that you have self-love, and you're putting up boundaries with your routines, then the more everything will actually flow. Don't get sucked into everybody else's work, or needing to help everybody, or needing to be there for everybody. You're really releasing a lot, especially with Okay, I'm not going to say anymore. Okay. Especially with Pluto, Uranus that just made a trine, you have been released majorly from the past, the deep, deep past in your roots and home and family and the intensity there. You've had more of a transformation, and also how you merge in relationships and how you give and take in relationships. And there could be a lot of ways that maybe you just like put that on your plate or did that thing or were there for somebody, where you can kind of release the outdated narratives of codependency and have a little bit more freedom. And you do have to put yourself first and have that self-love, and then overflow from there. And then who you help from there is how you can help people in a really healthy way. But this can be just a lightning fast release from old ancestral patterns and the bad family dynamics and what just kind of wasn't helping the family lineage out, you know. So it releases you at the same time from these old narratives and these old stories and these old ways of limiting yourself out of shame or guilt or feeling a need to hide your shadow. You can become aware of your shadow in a really powerful way that just like comes up like instantaneously. And maybe it's not comfortable, it's never comfortable, but as soon as it does, and it could be a deeper emotion or trigger, it's going to really free you. You know, it's getting you more aligned with your core. So you're more in resonance with what you are aligning to you. What are you magnetizing to you? Because there could be a lot of messiness in your day-to-day life with magnetizing the wrong people. But as soon as you go, this happens, you release yourself, you go up in frequency, you release some karmic debts, you can attract those higher relationships to you with better relational patterns and, better ways of working with people that aren't codependent, but it is more out of support and out of love. And yeah, the way you can do this, you got to plant seeds to be powerful, to show up every day in your life as from a place of self-love. You know, devotion is really important because devotion isn't just about it isn't about just like being devoted to something. Like you got to be devoted to something that's very fulfilling to yourself, because that's how you stay in your own alignment and connected to yourself and your higher source. One sec, there was a quote. I can't find the quote, but it's something about devotion and just really making a practice for yourself every single day so you get into yourself. My friend just like actually took my advice finally and started journaling every day, like I told her a long time ago. But just something simple like that at the beginning of your day really just centers you. And actually, when you're doing that, you're really connecting to your higher self and letting that information flow through you. And you're connecting to that knowing and that knowledge of what's going to be best for you and how you can navigate the day to day in a way, more effortless way. And that's how you're going to be able to really build the structures that are going to work for you, whether this is at work, whether, you could be making career pivots, but it will be, really powerful and beneficial for you to do that. What work you want to take on, how do you want to live? How do you want to take care of your body? How do you want to self-love? And really being firm with that will make everything else kind of flow a lot easier. Because if you're not doing that, then that's where this area of life can, get a little chaotic. So when you get organized in that way with self-care and self-love, and you are very grounded and rooted in that, and that is how you will have that daily routine and that daily devotion. So it is leading towards your long-term goals and your vision in a very sustainable and grounded way. Then you will actually find that you will have a shitload of more time, to work on like, your creative projects, and, you will receive those downloads and then those insights with how you can actually go after your bigger goals in the easiest way possible. So if your work's chaotic, definitely give yourself that time to ground yourself into some sort of daily devotion every single day. Sixth house is every single day, your work, your routines, your health, that you taking care of your body and your health and your habits. So make sure you have a daily devotion that really is sustainable to you. And this is planting the seeds so you have this, so it's long lasting. So it'll be very solid. And that'll help, your third house out too with like, what do I do first? Do I do things in the old way? No, you can actually do it in the new way. That is going to be, created from a lot more ease and a lot more flow. So yeah, you're releasing old beliefs. You felt like you needed to do things in a certain way. You needed to be very structured and maybe a little too analytical, maybe a little too linear. When you get in tune with like some sort of daily devotion practice, whether it is journaling, meditating, starting your day out with a gratitude meditation, just anything like that, it'll really center your day to make things be more in flow with your higher self, where you can kind of like, and when you're more centered with yourself, you can take on the more responsibility, and you can speak more of your authentic truth to authority, and kind of create, because you might be an entrepreneurial here, there might be an opportunity to be an entrepreneur or to take on responsibility that is like the dream that does lead to massive opportunities. But in order for that to happen, you have to be centered first, because King of Earth came out, you are coming out as the boss. Like you're coming out like, you're going to be able to make a lot of money. And you're going to be able to be really solid and really grounded. And you can definitely make a lot of money with your creative projects too. And creative projects can be just creative ideas for business and all of that. Definitely channel your creative energy into something with Uranus in the eighth. Could be really, really, really abundant and transformative for you too. Setting boundaries came out. That's so funny. Setting boundaries. We're setting boundaries to, people that we don't need to give our time and our energy, and we don't need the chaos. But yeah, this is the threshold that you're reaching. So you recognize what boundaries you need to set, and you need to honor your boundaries. Boundaries are very, very important. Do not be afraid to set the boundaries. And Virgin came out. So Virgin light, maintaining symbolic purity of the heart and spirit, shadow fear of intimate union. Nope, you're breaking out back into the Virgin, baby. You're breaking out of you're breaking into more of a pure heart. And when you do that, you can open up all this creative potential that wants to, flow through you, that is more so a part of your destiny. But yeah, Uranus going into the eighth house, it's bringing up all those like triggers and everything. So you can really merge with somebody with an open heart and not think that you're going to get hurt in the same way again. So you can merge, with somebody. The eighth house is how we merge financially, psychologically, sexually, and all of those issues could be kind of coming up right now to be faced. So you can be more evolved in the way you merge with significant relationships in the future. Yeah, and that can clear out your mindset too. But keep your eye on the vision and what you want to manifest, and know that you are the King of Earth, manifesting a lot of stability, a lot of groundedness, and a high level masculine too at the same time, or a high level grounded relationship if you want. All right. Thank you so much, Scorpio. Hi, Sagittarius. Okay. So this is happening in your second house, and your second house is money. It's what you value. It's your self-worth. When you boost up your self-worth, you boost up your value and you make more money. But also this, at the same time, this could be elevating your values, because with Jupiter and the sun in the eighth house, you're kind of getting to that deeper core part of yourself, with those deeper desires of what is deeply meaningful to you and what is really expansive to you. What are those emotional experiences that you want? So you could be majorly getting in tune with your feminine energy right now. That is creating a lot of expansion, really evaluating what we value at that deeper core level. And that's important, because instead of thinking about money, when we prioritize what we value. And when we spend more time on what we value, we get that back. So it's important to really focus on what you value. And instead of focusing on how you can make money, when you just spend more time and your energy on what you value, then that's how you'll get the money usually. So if you want an elevated way to make money, just focus more on value and what you value, and you'll find other people that value it and they will pay you for what you value. And you don't need to prioritize that as much because the money, money flow is changing in general. And the more that you can let it flow, the more abundant you will be, because it's more about energetics too, in this new era. So there can be old things that you're letting go of that you don't value anymore, that was valuable in the old era or to the old you, that you don't want to hang on to. Maybe it is just too heavy. Maybe it is weighing you down. And also at the same time, you're just getting into the abundant flow of receiving more money. So the eighth house, it can be contracts, it can bigger contracts, it could be investments, your investments doing really well. It could be your passive income getting a boost, royalties, shared finances, your partner could be doing really well. There's a bigger chunk of money that you can receive. And I think getting in tune with some sort of knowledge or wisdom or a vision can really bring you to more of the bulky money. Because there is a way that you're kind of letting go of, maybe working too hard, maybe being a workaholic with Mars going over the South Node in your 10th house, maybe feeling like you need to be a perfectionist and you need to do this, this, and this, and it needs to be all be very linear. When actually you can, connect to the most abundance and how you can receive the most abundance when you get more so in tune with the core of who you are. And when you do recognize that you have everything that you need and that you move from that place, you move from a place of wholeness when you're creating wealth. And you can actually focus on your passions. With this new era, with Neptune and Saturn in your fifth house, you're meant to focus on your fun and your creativity and your passion. And this is where you can have a bunch of massive creative downloads for your business. So you can structure things in a way that is more flexible and more fun and more just empowering to how you want to create a business and how you want to create money and value out in the world. Because when you create something that's fun, everybody's going to everyone values that. Everyone wants that higher vibration, that excitement, something that you're passionate about and something that you can show up with more love. Because whether you're a doctor, a teacher, a waitress, whatever, what you really notice is when someone shows up with love, someone shows up with, that's it. Like, it's kind of simple. Humans need love at the end of the day. It's not so much about the practical. It's not so much about knowing everything. It's not all about the details and having the perfect structure. Like, sometimes it is, and yes, that does help to a certain point. But the most powerful thing is showing up with love and doing what you love and doing what lights you up and getting back into the artistry of things. And just letting your heart radiate so the best relationships come in. And so true intimacy and, merging with beneficial relationships can come in too. With Jupiter in the eighth house, there can be really powerful co-collaborators. There can be powerful investors. There can be, just powerful ways that you can receive money to make your bigger dreams come true or your business to thrive. This is also, at a core level, you can be going through a massive evolution where you're releasing any of those denser emotions, any resentments, any ways that you were worried about people projecting on you, any money fears. You can release any lack or money fears, because there is no such thing as lack, especially when you just get in tune with the creativity. Then you can always create abundance for you in the way that you are supposed to create abundance. So yeah, and for some of you, maybe this is you, boosting up your self-worth so you know what you want to attract in love. And because you can definitely attract in that higher level soulmate connection that really, uplifts you and elevates you. And yeah, with Saturn, Pluto, like, or with because with Uranus that just entered your seventh house, you can definitely have relationships that are very unique, but very expansive and up leveling you in some way and letting you go through, helping you go through this like mental transformation that can help you in your daily life. Okay. So what you're evolving out of, I pulled the archetype cards because I want to see what archetypes are helping us or what we're evolving out of. And dilettante came out. So I kind of like this for the fifth house because it's all about creativity and the arts. So when light delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. Shadow, pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. So, yeah, I do like this for kind of opening up your heart and getting into your inner child and just playing again. I like how Tyler, the creator, did say, create like a child, edit like a scientist. So that is how you can kind of create, and that's you creating for yourself. And when you're having fun with it, when you're playing with it, when you're, yeah, and then you go back and edit, and then you can put it out there. There's a way you can make yourself a little less restricted, so you can kind of get more so into the core of who you are and more of your abundant flow. So abundance can flow to you in a lot more of a easier, effortless way, in that you're awakening to that potential. And then child divine. So when light, innocence, purity, redemption suggests a special connection with the divine. Shadow, the inability to defend oneself against negative forces. So you're recognizing what boundaries you need to put up at the same time when it comes to fun and when it comes to play. And maybe there's old friends that you've grown out of that you're putting boundaries up because you want to focus on creating and those special connections and kind of having more of a light heart so you can create the abundance that you're really meant to right now. Because it's really important for you to, put that energy into creativity and into the lighter creativity so you can have that better connection with the divine versus, okay, no dabbling, no like drinking all the time, no going in the bars. Like, I mean, yeah, every now and then, but that lowers your vibration. If you want to, be in tune with the divine and the higher in your higher inspirations and just be a creator machine, you got to be high vibration in general. So get into that childish, playful spirit and have fun in the way you used to have fun before the club and all of that. So you're going through this is allowing you to go through a transformation. So you boost up your self-worth. So you receive everything that you're supposed to receive. And there's something also about duality that you're going through with this healing. The eighth house healing that happened to me actually when I went through that Saturn, Neptune, all of that stuff in the eighth house. You start to see beyond duality because when you get stuck in duality, you don't see the other side. And that does really block you off from seeing the full abundant potential of creating anything I'm creating in general in this world. But duality, many meanings, misunderstandings. I think you might be having deeper understandings in general that is getting you out of duality and getting you more into creator mode. I like how there's 3-6 there. So 3-6-9, you're turning into a manifestor by like getting out of duality or just understanding both sides of something. And by doing that, I think it'll get you out of this hangman mode, which is, hangman is dreamy and everything, and it's having that vision. But then there's also where you're going to be acting on that vision, and you get to act on your vision, not out of a need of self-sacrifice. Actually, when you set up a system like that where you're self-sacrificing, that is what's just not empowering for everybody else. So you're figuring out how to way to build systems, build your future, make money, all of that in a way that is beneficial to all, co-collaborative, mutually beneficial, and lets everybody kind of rise up. And this could be through mutually beneficial relationships too, because Six of Pentacles is like a give and a take energy. So make sure you're having those conversations and balancing those out also, so you can create the best structures possible for the future. All right. Thank you so much, Sagittarius.